Noragami is a story about the lowest of all gods in Japan, Yoto, who wants to become a mainstream god, and in his journey we meet characters who support him and root for him. In Noragami, gods wield Shinki as their weapons. Shinki are souls of human beings who have failed to reincarnate for various reasons. These souls are given a name by a god and become Shinki who serve the said god. But what I want to talk about is not exactly Noragami itself, but a byproduct of writing a story such as Noragami, in which characters are constantly striving towards their aspirations. Reading such stories makes me think, wow, it's so cool to want to live, and that is very out of character for me. As you can probably tell by the stories that I write and publish on this channel, I'm a fairly melancholic person, and that is not how I typically think about the world and its inhabitants. So, having had this atypical thought, I wanted to write a story that would evoke the very same feelings. But then, this attempt at creating something atypical quickly escalated to me looking for a reason to live, and then I started spiraling. The creation of my next video was set back by 2 weeks. Nonetheless, I attempted to complete the story, but then I found myself incapable of writing such a story, or to be perfectly honest, I just didn't want to write such a story because it doesn't align with my personal views of the world as a fairly cruel and unforgiving place. But then this made me wonder, are there some pieces that I could never write simply because I am an individual with my own specific points of view? In a sense, I feel like what allows me to create what I do also limits me to creating certain types of characters and stories. Of course, I could just try and write something resembling the stories that I have read, but then that would be a disingenuous piece of art. And in my books, there are few things worse than disingenuous art. Well, maybe more than a few. What makes me hate disingenuous art, as with AI art, is that I see it as a slight, an insult to the people who have lived through lives filled to the brim with all kinds of experiences upon which they will draw to create art that represents their lives and the way they see the world. But back to our original question. Is there no way for me to make art that evokes thoughts such as, "It's so cool to want to live"? Enters Death Parade. Death Parade is an award-winning original anime series about lives that have run their course and now face the question of whether they will be reincarnated or will spend the rest of their miserable existence in the void. We are shown glimpses of the lives they have lived before they receive what they, in inverted commas, deserve. Watching this series made me realize 2 things. One, that life may not possess meaning by itself, but the fact that it will inevitably end at some point and that it's literally a once-in-a-lifetime thing makes it worth sticking to, regardless of how painful it tends to get. After all, when it's done, it's done. There is no giving it another go. And it's not just Death Parade that makes this point. Noragami also makes such a point at several points throughout the story. Point. A synonym for point. What is a synonym for point? The second thing I realized is that we humans can gain new perspectives by having new experiences. So even if I can't create some types of characters right now, maybe I'll be able to do that at a later point. All the more reason for me to try and stay alive, I guess. And hopefully for you too.